my favorite place is a Colosseum. I started there 13 years ago. When I moved here, I started the Colosseum. Maybe it's not a super particular, of course, answer, but I love so much that place because every day when I'm there is a new day. Every day I discover a new thing about the Colosseum. For me, it's always, every day, always an emotion. So that is my monument.
Welcome back to the Running Wine Mom podcast. I'm your host, Samantha Cieslinski, aka the Running Wine Mom. Today's guest is someone who literally runs through history and brings others along for the ride. Isabella Calidonna is the founder of ArcheoRunning, where ancient ruins meets the modern running shoe. She's an archaeologist, certified tour guide, and running coach based in Rome, turning the Eternal City into a living, breathing, jogging museum. We're going to talk about everything from ancient myths and morning rituals to playlists and personal joys. Whether you're a runner or history nerd or someone who loves a good story told with your heart, you're going to love this one. So without further ado, let's welcome Isabella. Welcome.
Hi, thank you. Hi, nice to meet you.
So excited. Isabella is obviously in Rome and we are over here right outside of Philadelphia. So different time, but that's the best thing about podcasting, right?
Yeah, of course.
So to start each episode, we have our wine, and win of the week segment. This is where we share our favorite bottle of wine, vent about something that's been bothering us, and celebrate our recent victories. So grab a glass, take a deep breath, and let's get started. So Isabella, what is your drink of the week?
A cup of tea.
I love it. What kind of tea?
Normal, early grey, normal.
And what is your wine/win of the week, your complaint and win of the week?
No complaints. I don't like the complaints. But of course, a lot of win. For example, today, I have a client that came back after 4 years in Rome. Yes, and they asked me another running tour to discover another part of the city of Rome with another running tour.
So great. Awesome. So I always like to ask my guests, what is one significant challenge you've successfully navigated, shaping your journey to where you are today?
I did it all by myself and with, of course, many ups and downs. Of course, during the path, of course, I had people that didn't believe my project, but of course, I never gave up. I doing my best, and of course, as my own uncle said, I will do great thing one day. So I try to follow this advice. So I try to grow step by step, and so this is I try to, of course, to grow my business in this way.
I love that. That's amazing. And I'm so excited to get into it. So let's get into ArcheoRunning. So how did archaeology first capture your heart, and what was the moment you knew it would be more than just a passing interest?
It's never be a simple interest because I start to study history when I am at school, middle school. I don't know if it's the same system that in between Italy and America. Of course, I continue to study history, art, and I took a university where, of course, I continue to follow this passion because always when I was a kid, I loved always the art history, the archaeology, the Roman history. And so I decided to grow up with this and at the end to make this passion my work.
I love that. And so you're not just an archaeologist, you're a licensed tour guide and running coach. So how did these worlds come together for you?
I decided to build a real professional experience. I started like, of course, an art historian, archaeologist. When I moved here in Rome, because of course I'm not a Roman, I was born in another place, in another region in Italy. I was born in Calabria. So now I'm a Roman by adoption. I moved here 13 years ago. When I moved here, I start to run. I start to study the running, so to be a running coach. And so I decided to put all this skill together to make, of course, the best experience ever. And of course, when you choose ArcheoRunning, you choose a professional experience led by an archaeologist, an expert in art, in archaeology, in tourism, in running, in sport, in well-being. So it's a complete experience. And so you can enjoy, in my opinion, when you have a professional, you can enjoy better everything.
Yeah. And I don't know if I said it over email, but my cousin, he moved to Rome. It has to be about 30 years ago now. But he is a licensed tour guide as well. And I didn't know that it was like that intense. Like it is no joke. You think, oh, they're just a tour guide. And the amount of, just education that you have to have for it is really impressive. So to combine that with running is just such a cool thing. I just love the whole concept of it. So that's wonderful.
Of course, as a tour guide, we never stop studying because every day there are news, there are new things to say, there are new discoveries. So we are, of course, always on the books, on the articles for newspapers. So it's not a simple work, but it's beautiful. If you have a passion, it's a very beautiful.
Awesome. So let's talk about running around Rome. So you lead people through ancient ruins while running, as you said. What's one historical spot in Rome that still gives you goosebumps every time you go through it?
Maybe is not a complete. My favorite place is a Colosseum. Okay, because I started there 13 years ago when I moved here. I started the Colosseum. Maybe it's not a super particular, of course, answer, but I love so much that place because every day when I'm there is a new day. Every day I discover a new thing about the Colosseum. For me, it's always every day, always an emotion. So that is my monument.
So speaking of the Colosseum, how do you talk about it without sounding like a textbook?
Exactly, because for me, it's not always the same thing, no? Because one day I start from a point of view, another day I start from, of course, the opposite. So it's not always the same thing. I don't start every day like, of course, a book, no? I say every day new thing, and every day is a kind of new thing. So it's impossible to be a kind of texting book when you talk about a Colosseum.
I love that. And so how do you shift your tours between casual jogger, history lover, and hardcore runner?
Of course, when we started, I explain to my customer. Sometimes also when they ask me the first informations about my running tours, I explain what kind of a experience is ArcheoRunning. So they know that, of course, is a kind of way to discover the city in a different aspect. Because ArcheoRunning is not a race, is not a hard training, okay? For that kind of thing, there are other type of experience. Is an experience to feel, to enjoy the city with a different point of view. Of course, I had in the time professional runners, athletes, or maybe people that start to run. So I try to explain, and all the people enjoy and love that kind of experience in the city in the early morning, because remember that, of course, all my running tours are in the early morning. I have two different routines, of course, because when I have a running tour, for example, I wake up very early, I take a shower, I take my cappuccino, and after, of course, there is a meeting with the clients. But when I don't have running tours, of course, always, of course, early morning wake up, a cappuccino, stretching. Of course, my training, because I have a beautiful park nearby my place. So I train in the park, and after I come back to home and I start my day. I don't know if I have email or if I have other type of tours, because of course in the morning I do running tours, but in the afternoon I do normal tours like Colosseum tour, walking tour in the city. So this is my two different routines for work and off work.
Awesome. And how do you balance storytelling with physical movement? Do you ever just kind of stop and go full archaeologist?
Of course, is a particular because yes, during the running tour along the path, we have several stops where you can take pictures. I continue to explain, but because it's a light jogging, I can speak. I can explain to you what what we have around us during the light jogging, because it's not on hard things. You know that when you run very fast, of course you need to run. It's impossible to speak. But when it's a light jogging, you can of course chat with your clients, with the company, and so is a kind of combination. And so is a real guided tour, because I give you all the informations as a normal tour, but because I keep going to speak during the path, of course, everything is particular and is different.
I love that. What's one myth or misconception about Rome's history that you love?
For example, normally my clients, of course, I have the 90% of my clients that are Americans. Of course, ask me about, I don't know, the movie Gladiator with Russell Crowe, all the things related with the Hollywood movie. And so I try to explain that not all the scenes of that kind of movies are exactly the reality in the past, now, because
Right.
Hollywood is Hollywood. It's a beautiful movie, a colossal movie, but I try to explain that the reality was different. So I try to help in this way.
Yes, it's very, I know people think that the movies are exactly what happened. So I'm sure it's good
Mm,
to debunk
yeah.
that.
Yeah, yeah, no. Of course, I love that the first Gladiator. I saw the second one, but of course, the reality of the history is a little bit different.
So, how do you stay grounded while juggling entrepreneurship, research, tourism, and athletics?
Of course, there is all every day there is a work to do, of course, and these things, now the work to try to doing my best every day, of course, give me the opportunity to stay grounded to the to them, of course, to stay grounded and to keep going and to do the best for my work.
That's great. So, in a city that is so saturated with stories, how do you find the ones that matter most to you?
I don't know. I don't know. Because I try to, because I try when you ask me this, I try to find my, but is the only, for me, the city of Rome that is really rich in history don't have a story or a one that is matter for me, because everything is a kind of connection, no? Is related with the medieval time, is related with the Renaissance, is a kind of a combination of everything, because of during the medieval time, for example, okay, they use and reuse things that were Roman, so it's a kind of connection, no? And now in a building, for example, that is a symbol of the Baroque, you can find a Roman history. So there is a relation and everything is connected. So it's impossible for me to find something that is a matter for me than others. So it's really hard.
No, that's great. It's, and that was kind of going to go into my next question about like establishing how you feel at home when you're running through 3,000 years of people's homes. Like we live near a very historic places in the United States where Washington crossed, and that's kind of right where we are. But in comparison to 3,000 years and more, we are not living in history. So
Yeah,
how does that feel?
I'm very, very proud. I feel blessed about this great opportunity that the life gave me, because I feel so lucky. I live in one of the most beautiful cities in the world with the most and very, very rich in history. So I'm very excited every day to run. And I fell in love 13 years ago, and I'm still in love with this city. So it's a really, really, it's an emotion for me. And I love this work because it gives me the opportunity to feel all this. So it's very particular.
So cool. So is there a woman from ancient Roman history that you feel especially connected to or inspired by?
It's not Roman, it's Greek. No. Because, of course, I'm studying the Roman artists, the female art, and all the situation of the women during the Roman time. But I have a super special example in a Greek woman, that was Hypatia d'Alessandria. That is the first scientist, female scientist in the ancient world. Wow. She lived, of course, in Alessandria d'Egitto, so in Egypt, and she taught to the men. She was really, really smart, and because it was really smart, of course, the men were against her. The men killed her. I call my cat Hypatia because I love so much this figure. So it's not a but it's a Greek, but that means a lot for me.
Oh, cool. So speaking of powerful women, what has been your biggest challenge as a woman building a niche business in such a traditional male-dominated field?
It was hard and is hard today because sometimes the people, look, before I started and I told you that in the first time the people don't understand my project, don't help. So it was really hard. But I am a girl from Calabria. Okay, I'm Calabrese, so I'm very, very stubborn. Also, I am an Aries, so double, and so I don't care if the people don't believe in my project, but I keep going. And maybe if these people, of course, don't believe in me, I of course show my project to another person, and because I know that is a good thing. I know that professional thing, so I give to the people professionalism, and so I know that my project have a value. Is not easy, okay? Exactly, because normally this field is dominated by the man, but I try to, in my little things, I try to change something. So I don't care about the people. I keep going, and I know that one day all the people understand that this is a good thing.
And it is. And I'm just thinking, like, could, bring it to other countries as well. It would be really cool.
For example, the art. The field of the art. Until the 1960s, we thought that there were only artists that were men. Wow. But of course, false, because we have a lot of female artists, and of course, now the situation starts to change for the old artists, for the gender, the women in general. Yeah. I want to keep going, and I hope and I know that one day everything changed.
Yeah. So if you could share a glass of wine or tea with any Roman emperor, who would it be and what would you ask them?
One of my favorite emperor, I have two names. Augustus, the first Roman emperor. And of course, he was a great man because was a kind of peacemaker after years of civil war. So it will be interesting to drink a cup of tea with him, or Hadrian, because he was really smart, intelligent. He wrote a beautiful. Now there is a book about him, the memory of Hadrian by Margaret Yourcenar. And so I have these two names. So one of these two, I will be very interested to to drink a cup of tea with these two emperors.
Yeah. And before I continue, I do have to say today, as we are recording, I was just thinking of this as your excitement in the city right now. I know in the Vatican, they picked a new pope.
Yeah. I follow on television, of course, because was a very crowded square today. Yeah. There were millions of people in the square, but was really, really emotional. We have an American pope right now. Of course, my favorite was an Italian. I love the speech that this pope gave to the people in the square. So he talked about peace. He named the previous Pope Francis. So in my opinion, it will be a good pope. So we'll see.
He went to Villanova, which is by me. So it's pretty cool. I thought, wow, what a cool thing that what a small world, right? But so what is your go-to playlist or pump-up song before a run through rain?
Maybe it's strange, but I don't listen music when I run because I love to listen myself, my body, my heartbeat, my shoes on the path, the sounds, because in the early morning, the sound of Rome is amazing. So it's not a chaos that normally is at 9 a.m., for example. And I love to listen maybe the birds, maybe, I don't know, the people that are early worker that speak each other. So I love to enjoy and give me a lot of peace, and so I love the music, but I don't run with the music because I love to feel and I love to listen to all the things that are all around me.
And it is some of the best things, just listening in a city to everything going on. I love that. If someone could only visit one lesser known Roman site, where would you send them and why?
Of course, before I told you about the Colosseum, but we have in Rome a lot of places that are really interesting. For example, maybe the parks. No, we have a lot of parks, not only Villa Borghese, the Borghese Park, but we have Villada, we have a Villa Celimontana that is not far away. Villa Celimontana is not far away from the Colosseum. So maybe the parks or maybe the unusual places, the underground area, for example.
Yeah.
In Trastevere, there are a lot of underground areas. So in the undergrounds, you can discover, you can understand about the ancient city of Rome that was totally different than the actual city that is a Baroque city, the city created by the popes.
I know there's so much that I could learn about it. I love listening to all of the history because, like I said, we in the US have we do have some, but it's just not as interesting in my opinion.
Of course, I love the US because I love to discover history. But when I talk with my clients and when I say, for example, that a monument, for example, you know that in the city there is the white building that is a commemorative monument for the first king that the Americans call the wedding cake. For me, for us, that monument is a modern monument because if you compare with the Roman history is really recent. But when I said this to my clients, the clients said me, oh no, for us it's really ancient, but because of course the America is a young country if you compare with
yeah, it is because like I said, there is a lot of towns around me that maybe are like the late 1700s or early 1800s, and that's very old for you.
I love it because it's beautiful. My dream in my bucket list, there is the visit to the Capitol in Washington, also Philadelphia. So all this.
Let me know because we are right outside of there. So when you're not running, guiding, or digging into history, what's one small, totally ordinary thing that brings you joy?
I love books. Of course, not books to study like history, blah, 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 but books like novels or mystery books, these books. I love music. So I love to listen to music. I love to walk better if there is a nature. And I love to walk along the lakes because in Rome, not far away from Rome, so in the Lazio region, we have a lot of lakes. And I love to walk all around the lakes. So maybe also hiking all around the lakes. So these are my things that I love to do when I, of course, not running, not working. So this.
Well, you have told us so much today. What is one thing you'd like to leave the listeners with?
My running tours are a combination of beauty, of history, of course, a gentle movement. So this kind of lifestyle help a lot to enjoy the life. For me, it was important because it helped me so much to, of course, to walk you through different problems. And so the run, the history, the beauty, in my opinion, are the best things in the life. And maybe if, of course, you came in Rome, you can try my running tour so you can feel my feelings, how I feel when I do this, and I can give you the same feelings during the experience.
Yeah, I am adding this to my bucket list to hopefully come over and do this one day because
I'm waiting for you.
Well, thank you so much. That is going to, bring us to the end of another episode of The Running Wine Mom. Again, Isabella, thank you for taking us on this tour. No running shoes were required. Your passion for Rome, for storytelling, and for movement is contagious. For anyone visiting Rome, ArcheoRunning isn't just a workout, it's a memory in the making. So to my fellow wine-loving, story-chasing, run-curious moms and listeners, I hope this episode inspires you to find your own unique route, whether it's through the ruins or through routines. So thank you, Isabella, very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye.
Yeah. Oh, I still have one more thing. As always, thank you for spending this time with us on The Running Wine Mom. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, share this episode with a mom who needs to hear it. You can follow me on Instagram at @TheRunningWineMom_. And Isabella, where can the listeners find you?
As ArcheoRunning on Instagram, on Facebook, and on my website that is www.archeorunning.com.
Perfect. And I will link all of that in the show notes. Thank you so much for joining us today. Remember, you are strong, you are capable, and you are all amazing. Until next time, keep running, keep sipping, and keep embracing the joy of motherhood. Cheers, and I will be back next Tuesday.